Why don't we start with Infinity Pool?
Yeah.
This is cool. This movie is something. So I had a roller coaster.
It doesn't actually have a pool in it.
It doesn't?
I don't think, is there a swimming pool? It's too cold for a swimming pool.
Isn't the infinity pool that thing that he's sinking, like the red goo stuff? So James and M. Foster are enjoying an all-inclusive beach vacation in the fictional island of Latolga when a fatal accident exposed the resort's perverse subculture of hedonistic tourism, reckless violence, and surreal horrors. Written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg. If that last name sounds familiar, his dad is a very accomplished horror writer. Starring Alexander Skarsgård, Mia Goth, and Cleopatra Coleman. Alexander Skarsgård he's the brother of the It clown, and he is also the main character in The Northman. And Mia Goth should ring a bell if you saw our top 10 movies of 2022, because she was in two of the worst movies that came out that year, X and Pearl. She was the main character in both, so I have a very bad experience with this chick that has no eyebrows.
Oh, and I didn't see either of those, so I didn't have the same negative experience going in.
Where are her eyebrows?
The synopsis says it has a perverse subculture, but it was really just like 8 or 9 assholes running around, just abusing a very weird, technically adept law. Like, they can clone people, but they don't have paved roads.
The intro, first and foremost, off the bat, they were doing some very artsy shit just from like the opening credits where the room is spinning. So our main character, Alexander Skarsgård, is a writer and he has a rich wife. They go to this island so that he can get some inspiration.
Okay, he has a rich wife who is an absolute hottie, by the way. And like, also, our boy makes a big downgrade in more than one way.
Yeah. And also, really, I guess maybe a hot rich chick doesn't have much tolerance for a dude that doesn't bring in any cash, but she belittles him quite a bit.
I mean, yeah, it seems to me that like she's taking him out on his little vacations and stuff, and she's not getting any of that good writer, dick. She's not. She's like, I take him on vacation, I pay for his shitty book, and I'm still like having to ask for some loving over here.
So they meet a couple who apparently are the only two people interested in his book, his original book that he released. This island is like it's like Jamaica, right? You go to this beautiful resort, but don't go to like the normal places. Don't go outside the resort area.
Yeah, it's all fenced in.
Barbed wire fence. They have more security than a prison.
It's more it's like you're expecting a dinosaur on the other side of that fence. But it's actually a guy with an AK-47.
So they go out to this beach for the day. Mia Goth jerks off Alexander Skarsgård for some reason.
Yeah, who is throwing away his marriage for a hand job? Like, look, okay, I get it. No matter how hot your wife is, like, you're gonna be tempted. But for a hand job? That's like breaking your diet for like a McDonald's burger.
They hang out for the day and they leave. They're all drunk. Alexander Skarsgård decides to drive. He runs over one of the locals who's running across the road in the middle of the night. I know what you did last summer style.
Yep.
And they just leave because apparently not only is it a shitty place to live, but it's a shitty place to get arrested. And the next day, Alexander Skarsgård is arrested. Here's the whole hook of the movie. The rule in this country is that when you kill somebody, and I like this rule, I think we should implement it here. If you kill somebody and you're convicted of it, let's say, Jeremy, I killed your father. I'm not revealing anything to you. This is a hypothetical. You get to kill me for free without any punishment to you. Alexander.
But hypothetically, let's say my dad was like wearing dark clothes and walking across the road at night.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Let's say it was a complete accident.
What if my dad jumped in front of the car?
Doesn't matter. You still get to kill me.
Well, what if my dad like kicked you in the dick and then like started jogging around you in like a semicircle going, yeah?
You still get to kill me.
I'm not okay with this.
Or what really happens is you get to kill a clone of me. because somehow they never really go into how this happens. So they're going to get somebody to stand in to take the execution for Alexander Skarsgård. The way that I thought this movie was going to go, which I'm sure everybody in the theater did. I'm not, coming up with anything mind blowing. But I thought what was going to happen is they make a clone of Alexander Skarsgård. Then they kill the real Alexander Skarsgård, and the guy like infiltrates his life, and maybe there's some sort of Russian or whatever this place is plot. They're going to assassinate the president or something. Like, who's that clone guy? Is that a person that they've turned into? Like, did they plastic surgery someone, or did they make this clone from scratch?
So this is basically someone having a much less interesting version of the movie The Prestige, in my opinion. So like they have one of the crazy people like bring up the question that you can't prove who's the clone and who's real, because the people act like, I mean, it's a copy of you. It has your memories. So like, I mean, who's to say that it's less real than you are? Because it would say I'm the real you and you're a clone.
And the clone, so let's say 10 years from now, Alexander Skarsgård needs another clone situation. Is he going to be Alexander Skarsgård's current age, or the age he was when he was originally cloned?
I don't know. I don't know if they can keep that in the freezer or not.
Do they have like a file in the computer? Oh, here he is. He's back. He murdered that guy's son. They kill the clone.
Yeah.
And then Alexander Skarsgård goes to an AA type group for
people. But actually, how do you know he's the clone? How do you know they didn't keep the original and kill? I know they didn't kill the original and keep a clone alive.
I don't.
That's kind of like the point of the middle of the movie until it dissolves into, aha, we're a bunch of assholes for no reason. Yeah.
So they quickly explain it away at this AA group, right?
Mm-hmm.
They start talking about, oh, how do you know if you're the clone or not?
I don't care is what they come up with.
Yes. What does it matter? Is the end of that whole discussion. Like, okay, we're moving past it. Anyways,
that's when the movie peaks and falls off a cliff, in my opinion.
What they want to do now is go and rob a medal from, I believe it was like one of the politicians, right?
Yeah, they want to steal something, but they just end up being a dick to a bunch of people there. And yeah. They murder a guy for no reason.
My note was, I was hoping for an orgy. That's coming later on. Pun intended. So they do that. They do a break-in. There's a shootout. They have a naked man.
Yeah. There's a lot of naked men in this movie.
Not that I was like trying to see, but I was like trying to see. I couldn't see anything. You understand what I'm saying?
I did that thing where you hold your hand up over the screen.
Yeah. But I still was like, I'm not seeing anything. So I was like looking harder and I still couldn't see anything.
Enhance.
Yeah.
Enhance. Zoom in.
So they all get arrested. There's kind of a scene where it looks like they're killing all of them, but they're all standing off to the side watching the execution again. So there's just this whole stupid shit where we don't know if it's another layer of clones. Like, can you clone a clone? I guess you can clone a clone if this movie says you can.
The original's good enough. Why couldn't you?
Yeah.
If it's a true clone.
The only thing that would have made it a little bit more interesting is if you could kind of tell maybe with one of them they were getting a little more deformed because they keep cloning the clones, but I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know where they could have gone with this, which is why they just went directly over a shark.
Yeah. Just bananas, batshit. Fucking.
I checked out when she had her third speech about like how, I've been messing with the whole time, but it's for your own good. But actually it's not for your own good. But no, we're back to it is.
They have this scene. My next scene is about when they catch him trying to escape.
Oh yeah, in the car.
Yeah, because
why'd that bus let a car pull them over? Just push them off the road.
Yeah,
it's a tiny little car. You're in a fucking bus. Moo, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, Alexander Skarsgård decides he's done with his whole nonsense and he's going to leave the island, but annoying-ass Mia Goth and her group aren't going to let him. So they follow behind him for what felt like 45 minutes, but was really like 3 minutes. She's shrill screaming at him as he like walks slowly in front of the car. It's just horrible.
She becomes shrill. Everyone else in the group becomes like a bunch of like hooting like animals, like they're just like all screaming and drinking and laughing. You know that internet meme where it's like, I'm not a rapper, so quit rapping at me. And everyone's like, oh! It's the movie has that level of dialogue.
Yes.
At this point.
Yeah, and she is my note about this car part is this actress sucks.
Yep.
I'm so irritated with her at this point. She's 0 for 3.
She's supposed to be irritating. I think she hits her numbers here.
Yeah, she does.
She does exactly what the director is trying to do, which is waste my time.
Yep.
And make Dan mad.
Yeah. She does. She is the best shooter on the island. Alexander Skarsgård escapes through the trees, and he's gone for a good 10-15 seconds running through the trees. And she hits him. She's just firing the gun and manages to hit him in the trees. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go to this farm, and Alexander Skarsgård has to fight himself because he's one of the clones, but he's like a dog monster version of himself.
Yeah. Like, how long is this going on? Like, how long would it take to turn that guy into a dog person?
Yeah.
Like, why wasn't, I mean, because I think it was all in one day. Like, he didn't go and spend 3 weeks in the resort after. Right. So before the bus scene, they have him beat up a guy who has a bag over his head, and then he pees on the guy. And then they take the bag off his head, and it's a clone of him. And that version isn't barking like a dog. He just seems really unhappy that he got peed on. And maybe like a little out on like something. Maybe he's on some like meth or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and if it's a clone, why is he working there?
I think they just put a shirt on him. He was never a guard.
Oh, okay.
They just dressed him up like a guard.
It's like, oh, he got a job on this island pretty quick.
But like, how do they dogify him so fast?
Right. Maybe there's a button when they do the cloning
thing. There's a dog button.
Dog button, yeah.
Is there one that can clone for a cat girl asking for a friend?
Yeah.
I'm trying to start up my own Twitch channel network. If I could have 3 dozen cat girls, we can be rolling in it.
Yeah, you're trying to have a real life anime harem. So we'll get you going.
No, it'll be like the show Big Brother, but in anime. Listen, we will clean up. This resort stuff's for the birds. We're gonna do it on Twitch and whatever is worse than OnlyFans. I don't know. Yep. And the other thing, wherever they're making the money on this stuff, the parts of the news I skip. I want to be monetized by that.
The only redemption is if this guy kills everyone. So after he kills the dog version of himself, my only thought is like this movie can be saved if Alexander Skarsgård goes full Northman and just bananas bonkers starts murdering everybody, but he doesn't.
I had a different version. Okay, instead of the dog man, let's say they compress the rest of the movie and he meets the dog version of himself like 30 minutes earlier.
Yeah, and
then the dog version kills him, and then they just throw him in like a pound or something like that, and then. Like, they have some flashbacks to how they dogified him, and then he starts working out, doing push-ups, eating extra kibble to get buff, and then he rips his kennel down and beats them to death like a piece of pipe from a chain link fence.
They already tried that ending, and that was in that movie called what was that movie with Justin Long? Oh, Tusk, where he becomes a whale person.
I don't think I've seen Tusk.
It is one of the worst movies to ever have been thought of. Yeah. There are people sitting like in their basements right now thinking of movies, and they're all better than Tusk.
They're all better than Tusk. Okay, I'm ready to give a rating. It's a low one.
Yeah, go ahead.
3. The number is 3.
So 3 out of 5, right?
Out of 10, Dan.
So this is the best movie featuring Mia Goth that I've ever seen.
Okay.
So if you watch my top 10, I gave Pearl a 0.1, and X at 1.1. This is by far the best Mia Goth movie. So I just want to say one more thing before I give my rating. During this movie, when we're sitting there watching him walk in front of the car and she's screaming at him, I'm literally banging the back of my head on my seat.
That scene was so long.
It took forever. And the more I thought about this movie after it ended, go ahead.
I was remembering thinking, like, I was watching that scene going, she has a gun. I think if I'm him, I would try to get shot.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you know what? Fuck it. One of us is dying right now. I know it's probably her, but one of us is dying.
After I got out of this movie, I hated it. Every single second of it, I was like, this movie is terrible. But the more I thought about it, the more I actually was like, you know what? It wasn't that bad. Really? I started thinking of the concepts and everything. It wasn't good, but I'm going to give it a 5. Okay. And that is the highest that will go, because I did like some of the things that they did, even though the execution left a whole lot to be desired. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 5. I feel like that's a fair score.
Okay, I got to change my score. I think it deserves a 3, but everyone else is rating it too high, so I got to give it a 1.
That'll make it an average of 3. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not gonna pull an IMDb.
Yeah, I did like that it was absolute bananas, and sometimes you just need that. I was thinking about seeing it again because I know what I'm getting into, but I didn't have the heart or the patience for it. That's an average of 4 for us. Let us know what you thought about Infinity Pool if you saw it, and based on the numbers, not many people did.
Yeah, I mean, the advertising was it was in theaters with a weird name. That was all the advertising I saw.
Yeah.
Did you ever see a trailer anywhere?
No.
They probably wouldn't have watched it if you would know it had her in
it. Yeah.
Just her in the voice. We were Mackie. Just that voice, and you're like, we're not doing that fucking movie.
Yeah, it was something. So here are the numbers. With an opening weekend of $2.5 million, it currently has not released internationally as of recording, has a total of $4.27 million. All right, so we have 4,000 plus ratings on IMDb for a 6.8 out of 10. All right, so on that note, we'll catch you guys later.